protect yourself. Hey there, Deepa. How are you? What are you doing? Do you think it's a good time to invest in the stock market right now? Do you think you should play it safe? What kind of investor are you? Or are you an investor? Right? Hey, Sean Taylor. Up, up, crash, and up. So what are you doing in the stock market? I'm going to talk about some of my thinking around the stock market. One of the things I know for sure is in challenging times, right? In uncertain times, there are people that make a fortune. Do you agree with that? I think we had a discussion, last week on my Achieve Even More show around, the stock market. And are you invested in the stock market? And if you are, where are you in the world? Hi there, Alan. Right, where are you in the world? Are you invested in the stock market on the Hang Seng in Europe, in Asia, obviously, United States, NASDAQ, the Dow? Hey, Teresa. Hi there, Irina, Angela. You're in it for the long haul, index funds. Nice job. Do you think that there are opportunities in the stock market right now? Right? Hello from Greece. Do you think there's opportunities? Do people make money when there's uncertain times? Do people lose money in uncertain times? Right? Of course they do. If you agree that people lose money in uncertain times and some people make money in uncertain times, give me a little comment, or a like. All right, and we're getting a lot of people joining us right now. The three types of people in the world when it comes to to money. Can anybody guess what the three types of investors are? And only one of them is actually what I consider as a real investor, right? So I think everybody's in agreement just from the comments. Hey, Sean Taylor. If you can see me on Facebook, just give me a John, I can see you fine. And if you can hear me and see me as well on my Instagram channel, let me know, not now. So let me share with you, as I'm seeing some of your feedback. People are going to fall into one of three categories right now. So there are people that are gamblers, right? Gamblers. What do you think a gambler does in the stock market? How does a gambler act in the stock market, right? And I want to make sure that, you're not going to be a gambler, right? So how do gamblers operate in the stock market, right? It's the same way that they, the way they behave in Las Vegas at the casinos, right? So a gambler, what does a gambler do? A gambler's behavior is sporadic. A gambler, positive, pressure 5, a lot of times goes all in, right? A gambler makes risky moves based on, as Cindy says, aggressive behaviors and risks, right? So are you a gambler? Are you somebody that, you read something in the paper or the bus driver tells you that you should invest and then you make a decision to invest? It's like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And you roll the dice and you go. All right, what kind, of gambler are you, right? A high-risk gambler, a medium-risk gambler, a low-risk gambler, right? A lot of people, especially in the stock market, they get into this herd mentality where they see what people are doing and their FOMO kicks in, right? Anybody know what FOMO is? FOMO. Somebody type in FOMO. Fear of missing out. So they think that something's going to happen, or they get this feeling and they can't control themselves, and they do that. And Aisha, it's not cool to ask people to follow you on somebody else's feed. Just saying. So when people are gambling, that is the highest risk, unless you're a professional gambler, right? Unless you are a professional gambler. A professional gambler knows the odds, but then I don't consider them, gamblers. So when you are taking a high risk without a lot of intelligence, logic, right? When you're making emotional decisions without logic, then you're in for a wild ride. And sometimes you'll win, but most of the time you're going to lose, okay? So sometimes, you win, but most of the time you're going to lose. And that's why they build the big casinos in Las Vegas. That's why they build those great big hotels, all right? So just be aware of that. So gambler. The next type of investor is a speculator. Okay, so what's the difference between a speculator and a gambler? Can anybody tell me? Let's do a little audience participation. Can you tell me the difference between a speculator and a gambler? Right? Thanks, Greg Chard and Sean Taylor. So what's the difference between a gambler and a speculator? Right? Takes a little bit of time for social to get feedback. And so as you think about it, a speculator is looking to maximize their investment, okay? They have done the research. They have the history of what to expect. They have a way to analyze the risk-reward scenario based on history, based on knowledge, based on skill. And so they're not making their decisions solely from an emotional perspective. They're actually activating two parts of their brain, the left prefrontal cortex, which is the Einstein part of their brain, plus they're activating that instinctual part of their brain, that reptilian side that just feels that the timing might be right. So it's prefrontal cortex as well as, the instinctual part of their brain, and they're not really using a lot of that emotional side. And so, are you a speculator, right? Are you a speculator? Sorry, my video just paused. So are you a speculator, right? Gamblers are looking for the quick money, Graham. Speculators are in between investors and gamblers. So speculators are just what the word says. They're speculating on what's going to happen, but they're using a lot more logic than they are gut instinct only. It's a combination of the two because they have the history of being able to see trends. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So we have gamblers, which I don't recommend that you be a gambler. And then we have speculators, which you can make a lot of money as a speculator. But then we have the investors. And so what's the difference between the investors, and the speculators or the gamblers, right? And the answer is this. Investors make all of their decisions based on logic, based on knowing trends, based on reading the market, based on valuations, based on philosophies, based on whether they are short-term or long-term investors. They know how to get in. They know, when to get out. As an average, not every single time, but as an average, they are making decisions, based on whether it's 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year trends. And so, what kind of investor are you? And again, I categorize in three. Are you more of a gambler? Are you more of a speculator? Or are you more of an investor, that has philosophies, that really understands what he or she is doing, and you have a strategy for investing? And in the stock market right now, do you think we've seen some incredible volatility, some ups, downs, highs, lows, and everything in between, right? Even the greatest investors, are confused right now. Even the greatest investors, you have, one, that says buy now, others that say don't buy now. So when we have a lot of confusion in the marketplace, if there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace, what do you think you should do as an investor? And do you think that's going to change if you're a short-term investor, versus a long-term investor? Do you think how much time you have in your philosophy will make a difference in how you invest? And I think the answers, of course. Somebody who is, somebody who's in their 50s or 60s is going to make decisions probably differently than somebody who's in their 20s, like my children, okay, who are more speculating now than they are gambling. All right, so I mentioned to you that, what am I doing right now? I have a portfolio of assets that are all long-term based for me. At 59, I don't want a lot of risk. I want, 5%, 10% risk. So I'm sitting in cash and a portfolio that's made to weather the storms, the ups, the downs, the highs and lows long term. My children, on the other hand, are on a much shorter time frame, and they're in their 20s, right? So when you think about investing, you first have to categorize yourself, as I mentioned before, into, I'm either a gambler, a speculator, or an investor. And then regardless of which one you are, what kind are you, high risk or lower risk. And then you have to develop your behaviors, your strategies around meeting that criteria. So I have made a lot of money in the stock market, and I've also lost a lot of money in the stock market. And when I started to understand that earning is one part of life, but then managing is another part, and you have to have philosophies, all right, for how you're going to manage your money. And so, Lee, what amount of time is long term for you? 5 to 20 years is a long amount of time for me, enough to see cycles come and go. And so between 5 to 20 years is my window now. So I'm not looking personally at 59 for what's going to happen in the next 12 months. I don't care what happens in the next 12 months. If there's some stocks that I bought, let's say I bought a stock at $1 and I thought it was good value at $1. If the stock goes to 50 cents, I'm going to buy more of that stock at 50 cents. Because if I already believed that it was worth $1 when I bought it, then I'm going to add to my portfolio, all right, as it goes down and average my acquisition cost of that stock. So if I bought, 10 $1 shares, right, then I have 10 shares for $10. If the stock all of a sudden goes down to to 50 cents, right, then I can get the same stock for half the amount, and then average out if I buy the same amount at $7.50 or 75 cents average. Does that make sense? Dollar cost averaging, right? So you want to take a look at that. The other thing that I learned many years ago for investing is buy things that you understand. Buy things that you understand. If somebody tells me, hey, you should look at this stock, if I can't understand what the heck they do, I don't invest in it. So I just, it has to meet my, my intellect level, right? So I want to make sure that I meet my intellect level, and if I can understand it, and I could see how and why people would want it or need it or use it, then it's something that I'm going to take a look at. So I don't invest in stuff that I don't understand, and so I recommend that it's worthwhile doing some research on the companies that you want to buy. Somebody that I follow quite a bit, he's become a friend. His name is Phil Town from Rule 1 Investing, and he's a Warren Buffett disciple who's made millions of dollars. And I don't know if you have followed Phil Town, but he's having a live free training that you can join if you want for free. And if you want, I'll ask my team to put a link for it so you can learn from an expert. I'm not an expert at investing. I think I'm good at investing, maybe very good, but he's an expert. And so do you want me to have my team put in a link for you for his free training that you can learn from somebody who's pretty brilliant at it, and that's what he does every single day. Many of you are saying yes. So Alan, if you're watching this, if you could put a link for Phil's training into the chat, that would be great, and maybe into the on Instagram up in the link up on top. He is really, really, really good. I've had thousands of my students go through his free training and some of his other training and they love it. It's a really, really good sounding board for, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what not to do. So let's continue, some of what my friends are doing. Now, I have another friend of mine, Michael Tedesco, who's the vice president at one of the very, very large financial institutions. And he manages wealthy people's money. And he's been buying all the way through this pandemic for his clients. And the reason he's buying is because he's also, for a lot of the wealthy clients, investing throughout their lifespan, because they're averaging out over a 10 or 20 year period of time. And he said to me, if he was investing short term, getting in and out, there's no way that he could read the market. He says he doesn't speculate either, and he doesn't gamble, because he's dealing with millions of dollars also. And so because he's investing for 10 to 20 years for a lot of his clients' portfolios, then he knows that the cycles work over time. So if you have ever read but seen and reviewed the stock market, whether it's the Dow Jones, the nasdaq, the S&P 500, you'll see these ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And a lot of times, if you're looking at it over a course of 1 year, you only get a partial picture. But if you look at it over 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, most of the indexes, have done fairly well. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, right, which I asked a little bit before, but, based just on what I've shared right now, what type of investor are you? Right? So what type of investor? Are you a gambler, a speculator, or an investor? What type are you? Let me just see what you've got over here. So let me see what kind of, so I've got Sidhar says he's an investor, and thank you, Graham. So Shannon, you're long-term, right? Cindy, you're an investor, right? So yeah, and there, when I was younger and I had more tolerance for risk, I was way more of a gambler, and I should have been a speculator, but I didn't know how to think about investing. I thought that everybody did it the same way, and I see some of you are speculators, some of you are investors. What about all of my Facebook friends here? So Graham, you're all three. How do you make decisions what to buy? Just curious, maybe you can share. How do you make decisions what to buy? Do you have a broker? Do you get most of your information from friends? Do you, do you read the newspaper or whatever your news feeds are, and based on what you see, if the market's going up, you buy, and if the market goes down, you sell? How are you making those decisions? I'm curious to know. Ed Data, speculator, right? So you got Anuj, you're like Warren Buffett, and everybody was laughing at him because he didn't have a great year last year, and he's crushing it, this year. So Shannon, you have a wealth manager at Creative Planning, so speculator, right? RX Butterfly, please tell you how, what? Broker from the and from the newspaper, from the charts. Now, how many of you know how to read the stock market charts, right? So always from a professional. Cindy, tracking stock. Yeah, my son's got into investing probably. My older son, Keenan, he started being interested in about 5 years ago, and he's 25 now, and my son Noah just started getting invested. He started in the last year. And Munib, how much does it take to start investing in the stock market? $25, $50, right? So I recommend that before you actually invest real money in the stock market, if you don't invest right now, pretend that you are, and say, take $1,000 pretend dollars and buy a stock or two or three. Do your research, okay? And if you don't know how to do research, then join the training that Phil Town is going to do for free. He's doing it for free anyway. I just put a link in, or my team put a link in for you. But what you want to do is practice before you actually do it. So practice saying, I'm going to invest $50 here, $100 here, $250 there, or $25 there. And if you want to get better at it, practice it first. Don't play with real money, okay? Play with fake money for the first 2-3 weeks, so you get an idea of watching the stock. But before you buy the stock, do your research. Right, so do your research of who owns a stock, what's their trend been like, how much are they capitalized, what's the valuation of the stock. So what you want to be doing is have a little bit of fun doing the research. If you're a gambler, you're not going to do any research. You're just going to go on this instinctual, emotional decision making. And I can almost guarantee that if you are a gambler in the stock market, there's I'm going to say this just off the top of my head, a 99% chance that you won't make it to be rich and financially secure. If you're a speculator, you can. If you're an investor, you can, because it takes a combination. And chili wine, what's fake money? Just pretend you have $1,000 and keep a sheet of paper, or an Excel spreadsheet that says, okay, if I bought this today for $50, where is it in a week? Where is it in 2 weeks? If I sold this today and took that money and then I invested it over here, just keep track with pretend money. Don't actually make the investments. Pretend to do it for a week or two until you just get a feel for what's happening over a day, a week, a month, and get into the game. The only way you get better at the game is play the game. The good news is you can play the game without a lot of money. Right now, I personally believe that the market is volatile. It has been for the last 6-7 months. Even though a lot of the stocks that I have gone up, and I've kept it because it's a long-term game for me, my belief is that there is going to be some kind of a correction in the market in the next year to 2, maybe 3 years. That's what my belief is, and there's going to be a lot of stuff on sale, and companies' stock on sale. We've had just a monster increase in the stock market for a long period of time, and we know that every bubble gets burst, right? So the other thing that I didn't talk about yet that I think is worthwhile is if you believe that the stock market bursts every 7, 8, 9, 10 years. The real estate market bursts every 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Almost every market has peaks and valleys. Then the other part of this discussion should be, are you holding cash to be able to invest, right? Are you holding cash, okay, so that you can invest when the timing is right, when it's going down, 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 so you can then hold it for a period of time, or sell, or buy options on the way down. Are you hoarding some cash to be able to take advantage of that? And here's actually a loaded question, okay, a loaded question for everybody, and that is this. Are you ready? And I saw this from it's either Donato or Don Otto Prezisio, is if the election, I'm not going to get into politics, but I want to get your opinion. If Trump wins the election, do you think the stock market will go up? And do you think if Biden wins the election, do you think it's going to go up or down? What do you think? Let's have a little bit of just group thoughts right now. So if Trump wins, what happens? If Biden wins, what happens? Give me your thoughts. And I don't want to get into politics right now of who you like and who you don't like. I don't play that game. Who you like is who you like, and good for you and good for me and good for everybody else. So let's go. What do you think will happen? So to all my Instagram followers, what do you think will happen? If Trump wins, if Biden wins, and for everybody on Facebook right now, what do you think will happen? Which one do you think will cause the market to go up or down? It's good to know what everybody thinks. So Cindy, you personally think, regardless of who wins, there will be a correction, right? So let me know exactly what your thoughts are. Up for either, says Sean. All right, come on, give me your thoughts. All right. So just your opinions and your thoughts, right? Okay, so yeah, so let's see. I love all the feedback. Again, nobody has a magic wand for this, and so what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Neither, think it doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so we got a lot of you don't want to give your feedback here. PE ratio will be increase of stock market. It'll keep rising until reality enters the game, then a correction. Nothing will happen. Stocks will go up with either one. Let me give my crystal. Just more of an opinion than anything else. I like to understand how collectively we're thinking. And again, I don't like to have a lot of politics in what I do. Hey there, Matt Corsi. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Hi, Pri. Hi there, Lindsay. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? We're in very, would you all agree that we're living in very uncertain times and almost unpredictable? How many of you would you agree with that statement? We're living in very uncertain times. Would you agree with that? I'm curious. So I think I'm getting a lot of likes and things. So we're getting a lot of likes that yes, we're living in very uncertain, unpredictable times. So when times are unpredictable and uncertain, doesn't it make sense to be a little bit more cautious in uncertainty, right? So Matt, ultimately it doesn't matter. Buy solid companies that have great long-term potential. Right, in order to do that, Matt, we need to do some research and know what we're buying into. So that means you're not gambling, you're speculating and investing. So I agree, right? And so my alarm just set off. All right, so yeah, so everybody thinks it's uncertain and unpredictable. All right, so we've talked so far about, are you a gambler, a speculator, or an investor? I shared with you, what I'm doing right now, and I'm waiting for a correction personally to be able to invest into that when I think it hits close to bottom, and then ride the next wave up. All right, so every Tuesday I pick a topic. I do a little session on Instagram and on my Facebook fan page. And if you want me to continue doing these every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 o'clock New York time, let me know. Let me know that you enjoy this, and I'll keep doing that. I enjoy sharing and talking with you and getting your opinions. What are some topics you'd like me to talk about, by the way, in the future? Getting close to the election. Are there any topics you'd like me to cover over the next 3-4 weeks before our elections? What would be the things that would really help you? Hey, Jacqueline. Right. So what would you like me to talk about? And my team will put up that link if you want to learn from one of my friends, somebody that I follow. So Fatima is uncertain procrastination, could be, yeah. So meditation on mental health and success, global economics. Yeah, let me know. I'm a student just like each one of you is. I love to learn and grow. What are some of the topics? Give me your number one top topic. All right, so opportunity, money, smart lady says money, best places to live in the country. Not my wheel of specialty. I live in San Diego, so focus on entrepreneurship, law of attraction. Okay, yeah. If you leave me the comments in here, I'll take a look at this afterwards, and we'll pick a few topics for next week, the week after, and the week after that. Right. So just remember, simply by Karen, procrastination is an effect. So the key is what's causing procrastination is actually 3 major keys for procrastination. All right. Thanks for joining me. I enjoy connecting with you and sharing some of life's lessons with you and what's worked, what doesn't work, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Appreciate you. Bye-bye now. If you like this, share this video that I did today. Just hit the share button. All right.